This is a recording about several small revolutions in education. The context of these small revolutions is I'm withdrawing from the bigger revolution. I'm a supporter of the bigger revolution, but I'm withdrawing from it as an investment by me. And then the bigger revolution is how the web is changing education, and this idea of open courseware, and this idea that for the first time in history, the best professors from the best universities, their ideas and teaching will become available to everyone in the world at an affordable price instead of available only to rich elites. I find this really humane, really important. I'm glad it's happening. However, I don't think it's going to, I think it's going to have a Facebook flow to it where you go up to 900 million users and down to 0. But I don't want to get into that because this is not about that. This is about smaller, bite-sized, independent revolutions, each one a revolution in its own right, but a smaller revolution than that Harvard, MIT, edX thing, and the guy at Stanford who's teaching 600,000 people AI and discovering that 500,000 of them cheat. So, first revolution will be getting rid of prose and replacing it with fractal page forms or something else. I think fractal page forms is the best model of what to replace it with. Fractal page forms are self-indexing pages, pages that graphically display the number of points on the page, the names of the points, and how they are ordered. They are also hierarchies of points that have been regularized in several important ways so that the points become self-indexing. It means that if I read a page of 64 points, at the end of reading the page of 64 points, I've memorized the order and naming and arrangement of half or more of those points just from one reading. If I read it twice, I end up with 80–90% memorized. If I read it 3 times, I have the whole thing. And then I can apply it as a model within a day or two in my head with 80–90% recall accuracy. If I rehearse it a few more times, within a week I can use all 64 points in any situation I want just by recalling them in my mind. So that's the power of a self-indexing text interface. Now prose is the opposite of that, in that it hides the names of the points, the number of points, and the ordering of points. That's the first independent revolution. Just to that alone, an enormous amount of improvement in human mentality will ensue. And a lot of other changes that I haven't anticipated yet. Number 2, and this is an independent revolution, replacing most classes at all levels with learning events, research events, design events, composing events, marketing events. And this is taking a method from industry 40–50 years ago called phone research events, where you took a topic totally new to a corporation and you organized 3 teams of 2 people each, and the first thing they did was go to the web and the library and research who are all the people who are expert in this area, who created this area, who teaches this area, who applies this area, who's leader of this, leader of that for this area, who are the institutions involved in the area, who are the sources of information in this area. And you arrange all of those key concepts, key contexts, key people, key institutions in concentric circles, 3 concentric circles. An outside periphery, medium core, a medium hefty part, and then a core of really the best people of the best. And then you generate questions, and then by Skype, phone interview everybody on that periphery, both the institutions and the people, and asking them questions based on your concept maps you got from your library research. And then the end of the first day, you write a 200–300 page book of all that you got from the transcripts of those interviews, turning the interview transcripts into an idea map of new ideas and new questions to ask the people tomorrow, and adjusting your maps of who the key people in the institutions are based on what you found out while you talked to them. The second day, you interview that middle part, and you've got better questions, which you did the previous night. So you're asking better questions, more sophisticated questions, and you take transcripts of that, and then you write a 200-page book the second night, and you change your questions and upgrade them in order to call the best people in the world the third day. And then the third day, you call the best people in the world, now with very sophisticated questions based on knowing a heck of a lot that you learned the previous 2 days. And you end up with another 200-page book. So at the end of 3 days, you have typically a 600-page book that's the best book in the world in terms of coverage, completeness, variety, explanation, causal maps, idea maps, source and institutional maps, and fresh ideas directly from yesterday and the day before and the day before that. That's called a research event. There are many different forms of it, but that's one form. And if you replace classes with that, it's amazing. People, even at middle school students, can write a 600-page book in 3 days, and they're absolutely astonished at how much fun it is, how much they learn. Then number 3, so that replacing classes with math workshop composition events is a major revolution all on its own, and it doesn't depend on the others at all. Number 3, we need to get rid of lectures. And in particular, we need to get rid of the usual assignments. And we need to recognize that ideas have to be presented in at least 5 media. And we need to just make putting the same ideas into 5 media the normal form of homework assignment. And the idea of individual homework and then team homework, the balance between those needs to be adjusted more towards team homework and less from individual homework. But you're going to need both for a while. But the key point is turning assignments into a video version, a game version, replacement for prose version, a event version, and a seminar version that you can teach and sell to other people. And you get people used to turning all of their ideas into those 5 media, and they just run circles around ordinary people who are stuck with writing answers on tests. That's a separate innovation on its own, stands on its own. Number 4 is publishing readings of books, not just books. And the problem with doing this today is the derivative work part of copyright laws. However, if you improve the ordering of points, and if you improve the names of the points, and if you improve how they are organized in the way you diagram the points from existing texts, and if you put alternatives and competitors for the ideas in the text, all on one diagram of the 50 or 200 main points of a chapter, or the 50 or the 200 main points of an article, then you don't violate derivative work copyright law. You actually capture the structure the author put the points in and improve that structure, and that's what you publish. And so these are recognition of the cognitive fact that people reconstitute the points that the author structured into better structures they imagine, because they see the author structuring better than the author did, and they can see irregularities, flaws, and imbalances in it better that the author couldn't see at all. And so they can imagine and quickly build a better structuring of the points than the author had, which includes renaming and recontexting the points, as well as thinking of competitive alternatives to the points. So publishing readings industry, not just books, publishing of books, but publishing of readings, and in particular publishing of diagrams, the main points of videos. Because right now video indexing is extremely hard, and it's very irritating to have points you need in a 10-minute video, and there is no way to speed through it to the parts you want. Whereas in prose text you can speed through to the parts you want. Now if you make a diagram of the main points of videos, or automatically make diagrams of the main points showing the geometry of thought structure that composes the video, probably not imagined by the people who made the video, because it was done unconsciously, then you've got a self-indexing video, and you can speed forward and backward to the points that most interest you. So that's a separate revolution. And another revolution is the shift from schools as learning places to schools as educating places, and to shift schools from transfers of information, which the web does better and cheaper and faster and with more entertainment, to places that transfer responsibility for the world from one generation to the other. And this means that school becomes enormous zoos of mentors. Every class, every week introduces or goes on site to 2 or 3 parts of the world. You stop the segregating of kids away from the world of work, and you make schools a statistically valid sampling of all parts of the world of work and all kinds of careers in the world. And every year for 12 years in a row, kids master a sampling of the entire world and all the career types in the world. And they develop learning skills. They model and build models and reports based on all of that. So yes, they learn to compose and synthesize, but more importantly, they are no longer segregated from the world, memorizing verbal formulas about a world they never get to see. Rather, they are data collecting in 33 ways from the world, analyzing that data, building representations of the world, going out into the world to check the accuracy and flaws and modify and improve their own representations. That's educating, not learning. So these are independent revolutions that do not depend on what the web is doing at all. Now, 2 things. Number 1, you can combine all of these. And if you combine all of these, then you get something really interesting and powerful and miraculous. And you can combine these in whatever the web does and enables. That's a third kind of revolution. First, you have these independent revolutions. Secondly, you have the revolutionary combining of all of them into one form of schooling. And then third, you have the combining of that new form of schooling with the web. Parts of it being enabled by the web, parts of it replacing the web, parts of it competing with the web, etc.